Today, unscripted. I usually come very well scripted because during the time I was married to a con man, which was only 1 year, but we were together, oh, not much longer than that, a year and 90 days maybe. Ridiculous. The thing that drew me to him was that he had a counseling practice. Well, he said he had a counseling practice, and I guess he did, which is a whole nother interesting rabbit hole to go down. So he said he had he did have a practice because I came to him as a client. He had a home in in a suburb of Arizona and a beautiful suite of offices on the back end, and they had beautiful French doors and a beautiful brick patio. I mean, it was just like Baton Rouge style, which is where he was from. And there was some rose, and then he had beautiful rose bushes, and he had a little citrus garden. Really a beautiful healing setup. And I saw other counselors come in, and I heard them in the room next to us, not word for word, but I could tell somebody was talking in the room next to us, just like I'm sure they could hear us talking in the room next to them. So it sounded pretty legit to me. And for those counselors that worked for him, I think maybe they thought it was legit. I don't know. That's for them to decide. Anyway, I came to him for career counseling, and he really wanted to expand into workshops and seminars and speaking in front of groups. And let's step back for a minute. I worked for a church for many years. One of the things I got to do while I was at the church was move all the ashes from people's bodies that had been dumped into our rose garden, from that rose garden to the new rose garden. That's an interesting job assignment. I digress. So I came to him for job counseling because I've never really known what I've wanted to do with my life. Well, now that I'm 65, I know, and now that I know that I know that I knew my whole life. It just wasn't a viable option according to responsible adults that were guiding me. But I've always been drawn to teaching people. That is one of my gifts because I'm just fascinated by all the things that I learned. I mean, we're all ignorant of something, and I'm sure we're ignorant in, I'm ignorant in so many things. So the con man had a, I guess, a seminary buddy who was doing workshops, parenting workshops back in the South. And he had a template, and he had the whole program set out that all you had to do was follow it. And so he thought he could just plug me into that and he could be all set, which was true because I was looking for a position like that where I could just teach workshops and people around the country and travel, which is what I still want to do. This channel is part of that mission, and still wanting to do that, still wanting to travel, still wanting to go out and meet people and talk to them about what's important to me, what's important to them, how we can share ideas and have better lives all the way around. So it fit in perfectly with his plan. So he said, how about we become partners in this business? That sounded unbelievable. And with me and my unworthiness issues, I thought, what? He picked me. Finally, somebody sees my potential. Somebody sees who I really am, what I can do. I know I can do this. And he's gonna trust me. We start working together. And part of working together and coming up with, talking to his friend and kind of reworking the material so it's not so Southern Baptist and it's a little more Western Arizona, and we start putting together materials and workshops. Well, that was kind of where the we dropped off and the I came in. I started putting together workshops. I started putting together workbooks. I started calling people. He continually needled me to do the next step. Did you call those people? Did you call those people? Those people signed up for the seminar. Are you going to call them and remind them to come? Those That lady was interested in a book. Are you going to call her? Now, normally I would say, it's just a book. It's no big deal. And I would lose out on the sale. And normally, if somebody called me about doing a workshop, I would probably do the same thing. But I had this needling going on. And when people sign up to come to see things, the normal turnout is, it used to be 50%. I think it's way lower than that. But, you'd get 20 people to sign up and you'd have five, maybe. Okay. Maybe eight, three, but not very many. But when I called them, I had almost everybody show up, and everybody would thank me for calling them. People want to connect, they really do. They just, like you and I, find 15 different reasons not to at the last minute, usually. So, okay, I digress. Anyway, back to the story. So he plugs me in. We start working. And of course, we start working outside of counseling hours. And of course, that's in his home. And the next thing you know, he's coming on to me. And I'm totally enamored, over the moon because of his titles. I know, I know that's wrong. I know it's wrong. It's just when you have certain things in your background, you have certain things that you grew up with, you had certain expectations. Children are supposed to be seen and not heard, women are supposed to be in the kitchen. Um, Sometimes you just don't think about it when a doctor gets excited about you. I mean, you do think about it. Okay, well, that's a whole different video, and we'll talk about that later. But I did that, okay? And yes, it was wrong. Yes, it was very immature. Yes, it was not a good choice. Okay, all those things. But I did it, and this is where it led me. I married him, obviously, but I married him mostly because in all my relationships, that is one thing, well, besides knowing exactly what I wanted to be when I grew up the whole time of my life and never got there, the other thing I knew for sure was that if I was going to have a life partner, that he was going to be a partner, like we were going to make a life together, meaning a whole life, a home, children, a business. Okay, I was looking for a business partner too. Like with my first husband, he was a farrier, an unbelievable farrier, like a basically a podiatrist for horses. And he was a horse trainer, and he was really good at that too. He just didn't have any marketing behind him. I'm a great marketing person. Well, you wouldn't know on my YouTube channel yet, but I'm getting it figured out. And okay, and then the second husband, we were in the food and beverage industry, the hospitality industry, hotels. We wanted to find a business, and we were looking for something that was, a little older, that somebody wanted to bring back to life, or a place where we could build like some kind of chicken restaurant, take out chicken, kind of like, remember Boston Market? So that was the partnership, the business partnership side of us. And we had our own event planning business in Scottsdale. And then with the con man, he led with the business. So I knew it was there. And that was part of what drew me into the marriage. Not so much that, I mean, he was kind of a dork, if I have to be honest. And uh, we'll stop there. So we started working together, and we mapped out, what it was going to kind of look like. And then I filled in all the pieces. I did the workbooks, I did the workshops, I sold the workshops, I followed up with everybody. So I really got to see what I could do. I mean, yes, he was pushing me, but he wasn't doing any of the work. Now I don't have a partner, but I know I can do that. So you just have to bear with me until I find my right path, because I know sometimes when I write a script, I come across, so that's what we were talking about. The original idea of why I do a script and why I'm trying to do this non scripted is because I was very polished back in those days. We were doing workshops and seminars for parents in Christian schools, for churches, very conservative family and relationship oriented businesses, other counseling businesses. So I was very polished and I knew that material. I knew it so well because I wrote it and then I practiced it with him so that he would teach it. That's another video too. There's so many relationship things coming up here. It's crazy. Um, so so now I have to flip and reinvent myself. And there's that word again, always happening. Reinvent myself to somebody who's just can just talk to the camera. And I just realized that I'm talking over here and I need to be talking right there. Hi. Sorry. I'm a newbie. If you compare YouTube creators' stages of life to regular stages of life, I'm kind of in the teenage years trying to figure out who I am, what I'm doing. Um, I also notice, sometimes when I'm trying to be so polished, I come across maybe as, I don't know, this is hard to admit, but, and tell me what you think, because I'm not the softest woman on the planet. Let's put it that way. I mean, my stomach's pretty soft right now, and I'm going to do something about that, or I am doing something about that. Yeah, so it's just getting used to doing something differently. And when I knew that material so well, I could just get off of it and start ranting, maybe. Sometimes I rant. I'm a optimistic cynic, what can I say? And sometimes I just start riffing. That's the word, riffing, like comedic riffing with the audience. So, um, yeah, I'm learning a new way of doing business. It's reinvention at 65, right? It's always reinvention. It's always, always reinvention.